President-elect Donald Trump says he might keep parts of the Affordable Care Act. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Reek.
And I'm Emma Balkenbush. Trump made this comment during his first interview since winning the election. Trump said after talking with President Obama this week, he would consider keeping two provisions of the law. One, the prohibition against insurers denying coverage because of a patient's pre-existing condition. Two, the one that allows parents to keep their children on their insurance plans until they turn 26. Earlier today, Trump announced his White House transition team. Mike Pence will lead the team of a number of political insiders, including Gingrich, Sessions, Giuliani, and Priebus. Protests against the president-elect continued in the streets across America for a fourth night in a row. In Portland, Oregon, things turned violent. Demonstrators vandalized property, spray-painted messages like "Dump Trump." Early this morning, President-elect Trump tweeted, "Love the fact that small groups of protesters last night have passion for our great country."
There have been sporadic small protests on the MU campus the past 2 days. Today there was a lot of activity at Speaker's Circle near the library, including someone burning a small American flag. This is video from MU student Kylie Smith. The man you see here was protesting Trump's election and had signs with messages like "Black Lives Matter" and "Your God is not the only God." A few people engaged with him, some yelling that it's wrong to burn a flag on Veterans Day. There have been other demonstrations, including many have been people holding signs about ending discrimination and hate.
Missouri's 4th District Representative Republican Vicky Hartzler was in Columbia today. KOMU 8's Kristen Reeser sat down with her to see what she thinks about the president-elect and the recent protests against him.
Congresswoman Hartzler says she supports Trump and agrees with many of his policies. Hartzler was in town today to attend a ceremony honoring Vietnam veterans and the Adopted Warrior program. Before the event, she told me the destruction happening at some anti-Trump protests is not the American way. She says we decide things as a nation on Election Day, not through violence.
It's just very disappointing. I mean, every election you're going to have winners and losers, and just because you don't have your candidate win doesn't justify going out and rioting or causing property harm.
Hartzler says the key to healing the national divide is for lawmakers to listen to their constituents and make policies that take the best ideas from everyone. In the studio, Kristen Reeser, KOMU 8 News.
3 days after the election, Missouri's Secretary of State is reviewing a petition to change the 2018 election. It would feature a ranked choice system where voters would rank candidates in order of personal preference. If similar candidates run, it might keep them from splitting votes. A Boone County Republican committee member says that has happened the past few years.
And so if it's a 3 or 4-way race or more, like we see sometimes, voters become disenfranchised and disenchanted because, hey, I wish I had a chance to rank my votes.
The chair of Missouri's Libertarian Party told KOMU, quote, "We're electing candidates without a majority of the vote, which is pivotal for a democracy." You can comment about the petition on the Secretary of State's website. We have a link at our website, KOMU.com.
The man charged with a double murder in Jefferson City this week might have a more violent past than most knew about. Yesterday, we told you about his conviction for stabbing a man 2 years ago. Now there's another accusation from 4 years ago. Susan Ludy says Brandon Rapier broke into a house, then assaulted her son while he was asleep. She says her son received multiple injuries from the attack.
We had multiple contusions to his face, his neck. He was very stiff. He felt like he was in a car accident, and it stayed that way for quite a while.
Ludy's son also has muscular dystrophy, and she says his neck has not been the same since. Rapier was charged but never jailed for the incident. KOMU 8 also reached out to the Jefferson City Police Department and the Cole County Prosecutor's Office, but none were available for comment.
Here's what's happening right now. Welcome Home Incorporated is hosting a casino night to raise money for homeless veterans. KOMU 8's John Saltzman joins us live from the Elks Lodge, where the event is underway.
Everyone is welcome to casino night to enjoy food, drinks, and casino games until midnight tonight. $50 at the door gets participants access to the casino tables as well as unlimited access to the buffet and bar. The proceeds at tonight's event are all donated to Welcome Home Incorporated to help fund the support of homelessness veterans in Columbia. Executive Director of Welcome Home, Tim Rich, talked about what it is expected at Casino Night.
We're hoping tonight to raise somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000. We've got about 150 to 200 people that are going to come out, play casino games just like you're in Vegas, and all for a good cause.
The money raised tonight will be used to fund a new facility for Welcome Home in the summer, and that will allow more veterans to live in Columbia. Reporting live in Columbia, John Saltzman, KOMU 8 News.
Nearly 80 people have been treated in the past week for apparent overdoses of a synthetic drug in St. Louis. It happened mostly in the downtown area, and many of the victims are homeless. Officials and a local homeless services provider urge people not to give beggars money because they might use it for drugs. No deaths have been reported.
Mid-Missouri law enforcement agencies hope to better prepare officers how to deal when someone has a mental illness. Officers from 11 different agencies gathered for training today. The 40-hour week-long program teaches officers how to successfully manage a crisis involving mental health, substance abuse, or something else.
It's given us the tools how to respond to that, how to provide services and not looking to just to take people to jail. You know what I mean? There's so many more options in some of these situations.
The National Alliance on Mental Illness estimates 15% of men and 30% of women booked in jail have mental health problems.
After a delay in bridge work, traffic in the capital will finally be back to normal on Monday. The Missouri River Bridge project is complete and crews are working to open all lanes this weekend. Workers were out on the ridge earlier tonight to start directing traffic. The westbound lanes of the bridge closed in May for painting and structure repairs. One MoDOT engineer told KOMU 8 News that drivers should try to avoid the area if they can.
We're strongly encouraging traffic to stay away or to not use eastbound 54 if at all possible, because there will be significant delays.
All lanes are expected to be open by 6 a.m. on Monday. The Jefferson City Public Schools superintendent says he will not recommend buying land next to the high school. The land would have been used to address space needs with a campus expansion. Superintendent Larry Linthicum says the Board of Education is now looking toward a second high school to solve those problems.
We still have space needs there, but we've determined that at this time moving forward with the second high school as a part of the recommendation that was made by the Long Range Planning Committees.
The Board of Education will meet Monday to discuss planning for the second high school.
Columbia businesses are joining thousands of others in Missouri to find jobs for veterans. Today, Governor Nixon announced an effort to encourage Missouri employers to hire vets. 5,000 businesses are on board. The Show Me Heroes program started in 2010 to get veterans back on their feet. KOMU 8 News talked to 2 employers involved in the program who were more than happy to help.
They're the reason we can enjoy our freedom and our free enterprise system, and that allows us to go in and help them in the first place. So we owe them everything.
To see a map of the businesses who took the Show Me Heroes pledge, you can visit our website at KOMU.com. There were many Veterans Day celebrations across Missouri today.
But one celebration in the small town of Russellville was unique. KOMU 8's Ben Burke tells us how.
On the surface, the Blue Star Memorial Dedication Program looked a lot like other Veterans Day ceremonies.
So definitely an important thing for the community. It's important to recognize the veterans that have served before us and the veterans that are currently serving.
But one thing makes this year's celebration special.
We had a veteran that passed away about 3 weeks ago here in the community.
Larry Crocker served 12 years in the Air Force before being honorably discharged in 1981. He died September 29th.
This veteran, over the years, had dedicated a lot of his time, a lot of his money to supporting this community.
Crocker's projects included this flagpole with the names of veterans carved in the bricks below.
In fact, he was supposed to help me put in the memorial.
A fitting tribute for someone Amick calls a great guy. Ben Burke, KOMU 8 News, Russellville.
Amick says he has been talking to people about future plans for celebrating Veterans Day, but that he's not sharing those plans just quite yet. We had a more fall-like weather today. Let's send it over to Michael to see what's in store for ahead.
Thank you, Emma, and good evening, everyone. As she mentioned, an absolutely beautiful day out there today as we take a look at the weather almanac, warming to a high of 62 degrees today, actually above average for this time of year. Usually we're about at 56 degrees. Temperatures right now in Columbia are at 44 degrees, 40 degrees in Kansas City, and a little bit warmer at 50 degrees in St. Louis. And you can see on Skycam a very weak cold front pushed through the area just a little while ago, and that's why we're going to see very cool temperatures overnight tonight and especially tomorrow morning. Waking up at sunrise about 34 degrees. But we are going to see plenty of sunshine. But let's talk about the next time we're going to see some rain later in the show.
Michael, thank you very much. Coming up, what Syrian rebel leaders say about the U.S. election.
And how the election affects a long-time negotiation on a trade deal between the EU and U.S.
Welcome back to KOMU 8 News at 9. Tonight we're taking a look at the time lapse over Rocheport. You see a beautiful sunrise there. Out over the Missouri River, temperatures warming up into the 60s actually today. Saw a high of 62 degrees out in Rocheport. You see a few more clouds beginning to move in right as the sun sets at around 5 o'clock tonight. Temperatures right now out over the Missouri River at 44 degrees. Now looking at our forecast facts for the next few days, we are going to get really cool overnight tonight and actually tomorrow night as well, near freezing for both Friday night and Saturday night. And let's talk about that chance for rain I mentioned earlier. Not likely. This week we are going to remain very dry. We do see a chance for some rain Friday night, but right now it is still very slim. And we actually are going to see a little bit of a November warm-up with temperatures back in the mid to upper 60s by this week. Temperatures right now cooling off quickly. 44 in Columbia, 49 in Jefferson City, and 40 up in Chillicothe. We are, as I mentioned, going to cool down near that freezing mark tonight, and winds are going to be a big part of that as well. 8 miles an hour right now. They are going to die down as we head throughout the night and into the morning hours. They are going to be calm by tomorrow morning with very cool temperatures. temperatures. And satellite radar, again, you can see where that weak cold front pushed through. Again, no rain associated with that front, just some cooler temperatures, and there's just high pressure behind, and that's actually going to slide down into the area tomorrow afternoon. Going to continue that clear and those calm conditions for this weekend. And again, we are going to see cooler temperatures as well with that. How cold are we talking about with our tempcast? You can see around 7 a.m. tomorrow. Excuse me, 32 degrees in Columbia, 31 in Moberly. Now, it's not going to be great for those early morning tailgaters for the Mizzou game, but if you are deer hunting tomorrow, these are perfect conditions for you, as we're actually going to see some freeze warnings out for northern Missouri. Tomorrow, we're going to warm up to a high in the mid-50s, and then as we head, as I mentioned, down into the lower 30s for Sunday morning, and then we're back up into the upper 50s for Sunday. So a little bit warmer of a day than Sunday, but it is going to be a cool one for Saturday. And as we look at those frost and freeze warnings, again, a freeze warning for Randolph, Sheraton, and Macon counties for tomorrow. That'll expire at 9 a.m. So remember that. You can see the very cold temperatures tomorrow. And then, of course, the Mizzou football game tomorrow, the second to last home game. Not going to be too bad. Temperatures around kickoff at 55 degrees. But remember, with that sun setting early, temperatures are going to cool off pretty quickly. By the end of the game, we're back into the 40s. So the coolest Mizzou game for this year, definitely. Tonight, as I mentioned, very cold temperatures, 34 degrees, clear and chilly. And that freeze warning is in effect for northern Missouri for those counties that I mentioned. Tomorrow, a little bit of warm up, but not much. 56 degrees for a high. Plenty of sunshine, though, but very calm. And that's actually seasonal for this time of year. Our average high temperature is 56 degrees, and those winds are going to be very light. They're going to be out of the east. And looking at the rest of the week, again, a little bit of a warm up on Sunday. High of 58 degrees. And then we're back into the 60s for the rest of this week. For the most part, you can see a high of 66 on Wednesday, 68 on Thursday. Very mild for this time of year. And there's that chance for rain that I mentioned on Friday. Still only a 20% chance, but it does affect our temperatures for next weekend as we're back down into the 50s by that point.
It's not a bad deer hunting season.
No, it's great. Light winds, very cold, and frost and freezing temperatures. That's good.
That's good.
That'll get them moving.
All right. Thank you, Michael. The U.S. and EU have been talking about a huge trade deal for 3 years now.
After the break, we'll tell you how the two sides might go different ways following the election.
The Iranian foreign minister today criticized the U.S. for, quote, not fully implementing its part of the Iran nuclear deal. He suggested Tehran could have other options if the U.S. does not remain committed. The comments came during a trip to Prague. Two Syrian rebel leaders say Donald Trump's presidency might be better than what they called President Obama's unfulfilled promises. While visiting family in Jordan, one of the men said, quote, "At least Trump is clear and direct. He hopes Trump will bring an end to the crisis one way or another."
The European Union Trade Commissioner said today there would likely be a pause in talks on a planned transatlantic free trade pact. Commissioner Cecilia Malmström made the comment following Trump's election. The EU and U.S. have been negotiating since 2013 on the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, or TTIP.
Now, of course, with the new president-elect, we don't really know what will happen. There is strong reason to believe that there will be a pause in TTIP, that this might not be the biggest priority for the new administration. So we'll have to see.
The EU is working to make it tougher to swamp the European market with products at dumping prices or prices below production costs.
Columbia College wants to see a conference sweep this week.
Find out if the men's soccer team brought home some hardware next to the sports.
Now, from the Ford Sports Desk, KOMU 8 Sports.
The Columbia College women's soccer team won the American Midwest Conference title last night, defeating Park College 3-0. Tonight, the men's team had a chance to win conference gold of their own as they hosted Lyon College for their conference championship. Cougars hosting the Scots from Arkansas. They beat Columbia 1-0 earlier in the season. In the first half, junior Nick Horn heads to the corner. Dan Riley waiting there. The post puts it into the back of the net. Columbia up 1-0. The fans are going absolutely crazy. They love it. We're going to move on here. Goalkeeper Ian McTurk, all the way from Denmark, led the Cougars defense today. Nice save there. It was a clean sheet until the final minutes here. And then Riley is going to burst through the defenders, finds Eden Camprero, who gives it to Hickman High School's own Carter Cox for the game-clinching goal. 2 minutes left in the game. The Cougars go on to win 2-0 over the Scots to take home the American Midwest Conference Championship in front of their home fans. Time to update you on some scores from around mid-Missouri. First in Class 3 state football action, the undefeated Blair Oaks Falcons are trailing McClure South 34-10. The Falcons went up 3-0 to start the game, but since then it's been all Bulldogs. Blair Oaks fumbled on the second play of the third quarter deep in their end zone, which led to a McClure South touchdown. And then another run extended their lead to 17 for the Bulldogs. Blair Oaks then scored to make it 20-10, but back-to-back touchdowns by McClure South makes it a 24-point game. Looks like the Falcons season will be over. We will bring you those highlights, though, at 10. Also, the Missouri women's basketball team was on upset alert tonight. They were 33-31 after 3 quarters, but they opened the fourth on a 13-7 run to win 52-46. The hopes are high for Mizzou team this year after making it to the second round of the NCAA tournament last year. So a bit of a scare to start the season isn't a positive sign. We'll have those highlights for you at 10 as well. The Missouri football program hasn't lost 6 games in a row since 1995, and the Tigers' opponent tomorrow, Vanderbilt, has not been bullied like the rest of the SEC this season as they usually have in previous years. This season, Vandy has played in every SEC team on their schedule to within a touchdown and knocked off and Middle Tennessee State, 2 teams that beat Mizzou earlier this year at home. Derek Mason and his defense have been the big story for Vanderbilt so far. They've only allowed 17 points per game. Missouri quarterback Drew Lock says he knows even though it's season for the Tigers, the team must keep a positive outlook heading into the matchup.
And you don't want to go out on this Saturday and put on a bad show or whatnot, and just get slaughtered by whoever you're playing, because if you come in with that mindset, then that's what will happen, and that's not what we're going to do as a team. So.
And finally, some cross-country news. The Mizzou women's team won their first regional championship in 12 years today in Iowa City. Junior Carissa Schweizer won the individual gold medal at that meet in the 6,000-meter run. That's in Sports at 9. We'll be right back after this.
Coming up on KOMU 8 News at 10 o'clock, a children's book turns out to be a veteran's real-life story.
And how that veteran got the chance to reunite with the plane he flew in World War II.
Coldest start to the day so far this fall. We'll see temperatures down near 34 degrees at sunrise. A freeze warning is in effect for Sheraton, Macon, and Randolph counties tomorrow morning, expiring at 9 a.m. Afternoon highs warming up to 56 degrees. Sunday a little bit warmer, a high of 58. And the rest of this week looks pretty nice and dry. Temperatures back in the mid-60s by next midweek.
Are you going to tell us about the super moon at 10 o'clock?
That is true.
You need to tell us
about it. Coming up on Sunday, yeah.
I'm a big fan of the supers.
Absolutely.
Ooh,
Jim I know loves it.
Absolutely. See you at 10 o'clock.
Have a great night.